People visit Vancouver Island for a lot of reasons. The natural beauty, the adventures, to gather a better understanding of the people that call this place home, or to just see things from a different perspective. It's even pretty upside down. West of Port Alberni, on Highway 4, on your way to Ucluelet and Tofino, there's a place where you can do all of this stuff. West Coast Wild Adventures, in the Hookman Tribal Park. 15 years ago, one of my first ever YouTube videos was a visit here with my wife, and a friend who wasn't quite suited for the job.
Carrie just told us that she has like a bit of a height phobia, and there's probably going to be some crying. Or fifth time throwing up in the month since she left for
This time, we brought a better camera than an iPhone 3 and maybe slightly more appropriate travel companion.
You're just such a big boy.
It's the best.
While the guides tested the safety equipment and took care of the other important business, I thought I'd look into how I could take care of business.
So we're just getting ready for a zipline trip and have to use the washroom, as one might when they're about to go put on a harness and end up, I don't know, away for an hour or so. And this is the washroom, which is pretty incredible, actually. The sign just says outhouse, and it kind of just looks like an outhouse, but inside, just like fully plumbed. How cool is that?
This would be Scott's first zipline experience, and for Tara and I, we'd done a few.
It's a wild zipline.
Our charming guides, Kat and Cole, had tons of experience, but we still had a little surprise in store, apparently.
We have Louis coming out today. He's the owner. This will be my first tour with him.
Oh, so is it going to be high stress? Are you going to be pressured? Is Louis a hard-ass boss?
Yeah, he's really cool.
Cool kids in the back, Tara.
We sat right in the front.
I am Cole. This is Kat. Or maybe that's Kat. This is Cole. We'll be your guides this morning. This is our wonderful bus driver, Sandy. It's wonderful boss, Louie. As we were coming into the driveway, you might have seen a wooden board up there. You get a good view of it just as we're turning. What that says is Hookman Tribal Park. That's where we are today. Hookman is a name that means like a feast bowl or a horn of plenty. It's both a reference to the shape of the valley as well as the abundance of food and medicine found within. It's also a rough translation to paradise, so welcome to paradise. And that talk was to distract you from the most dangerous part of the tour, which you've now survived. Congratulations.
After surviving the harrowing drive a few minutes up the road, we had a short walk through the beautiful rainforest on some meticulously maintained trails. Presently, we arrived at the first zipline. One guide went ahead, and one stayed behind with us to make sure we got all strapped in proper like.
Ooh, crotchety. If it's tight, it means you're safe. The more uncomfortable you are, the safer you are. That's my excuse, at least. Right. Step out and away.
The first zip was a good introduction. Not too high, not too long, not too fast, not too close to sketchy rocks. Spoiler alert. Throughout the tour, our guides took time to describe all sorts of the beautiful things we were seeing, as they applied to ecology, culture, the colloquiate people's history, and even an idea or two about what to do if you forgot to pack a lunch.
Different types of mushrooms and medicinal plants. I like to say, if you really know what you're looking at, you don't need to bring a first aid kit or a lens.
I'm not going to try to summarize all that in this video, so you'll just have to do the tour yourself, but check the description for some links that might have helpful information.
Here in our little grove, you see two more beautiful western red cedars. You will notice that this one here is missing something that its friend over there.
After some group photos with this gnarly tree, there was a little bit more walking, and we were at the next zip line. This one was a little more exciting. Zipping effortlessly down the river made me think of the struggle of the salmon coming up the river, and the struggles of the people trying to rebuild this salmon habitat. We learned a little bit about it on the drive up to the first zip line.
The river that we're going to zip line over today on the maps is known as the Kennedy River, but its traditional name is the Wind Sheave, which translates to many species of salmon. Because at one point, this river had all 5 traditional species of salmon returning every year in the trillions. That was up until the colonial settlers came over and observed what the colloquiate people were doing. The colloquiate would put their nets at the mouths of the river just for 1 to 2 days out of the year, catching all the salmon they needed to feed themselves and their families. Remove the nets and let the rest of the salmon go up for the next generation. The settlers thought, you know what, that's a really good idea. What we're going to do is we're going to place our nets at the mouth of the river. We're going to leave them in 24/7, 365 days a year. and didn't take them out for almost 60 years until the river was declared dead. No more salmon at all, which is some really sad news. But fortunately, a portion of your tour fees actually go back to the Cloquet people and reseeding the river with salmon. So we now see 4 of those 5 species returning every year, as well as 2 species of trout that we also see. And that's in part thanks to zipliners like you guys. You can give yourself a pat on the back for doing your cultural and ecological duty for the day.
After that flashback and another short walk, it was time to start jumping off cliffs again. Anything you want to say to your wife and kid?
I'm sorry.
Kind of start taking things like this for granted if you live here a while. But even Louis, the owner of the place, still has a favorite zipline.
So that's my favorite.
Best random stuff ever. Like at the last possible second I saw this sign, I was like, oh, zipline! And it's open.
We continued learning, laughing, and overcoming fears. And Louis pointed out there's a lot more to see around here, apparently.
Because you do the paddleboarding and kayaking?
Paddleboarding.
Yeah.
So then you go all the way up to just under.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it almost looks like these boulders are in motion. When the light changes, and like when you're going over it, just different things.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
So with plans hatching to return already, we still had one more zipline to finish, with the 6th and final going underneath that bridge you might remember from the opening shots. Thanks to Kat, Cole, Louis, and the rest of the team down there at West Coast Wild for doing what they do and having us along for a ride. If you want to learn more about it, visit wcwild.com. And as a little Easter egg for watching to the end, if you're curious how bad the 15-year-old iPhone 3 version of this video is, yikes.
Okay. I hereby waive all liability for dropping my phone. All right, game on.
Thanks for watching, friends.